The views and opinions expressed on the following program may not necessarily reflect the views of the staff, management, or board of Hope Media Group and KSBJ. It's what's happening around us, in our town, suburb, city, in our community. It's Community Beat with Kim Kasi McKee on 89.3 KSBJ.
Hello, and welcome to Community Beat, keeping you attuned to the topics that are impacting our local communities and helping them to thrive. I'm your host, Kim Kasi McKee, and today we're talking about staying safe during the holiday season and beyond. My guest today has a lot of insight to share with us and serves as president and CEO of Crime Stoppers, and also serves as a member of KSBJ's President's Council, which is comprised of leaders in our city who advise KSBJ on various trends and needs of the Houston community for greater impact. I want to say a huge hello and welcome to our friend Rania Markarious. Welcome, Rania.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I am so excited to get to speak with you today. So we're going to just jump right in and get started. So for starters, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your professional background.
Well, I am a Boston native, born and raised, immigrant parents. My parents are from Cairo, Egypt, Christian, so super minority, came to Boston, and my sister and I were raised there with just a great family home, a lot of conversations around the table in terms of, we gave up a lot for you all to be here. We want you here and we want you to thrive. And how will you give back? If you were women growing up in Egypt, you may not have the same opportunities you have here. And so I was always very motivated by that and by women in media. I loved listening to female voices on the radio. I loved seeing female journalists. Grew up loving Barbara Walters.
Me too. Oh my goodness.
I mean, who didn't? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's our generation, but I just loved her.
Yes.
But I also knew not everybody got there easily, especially at that time. It was the 70s and the 80s. And so I figured, how can I serve, but sort of be creative and work around reality? And I decided to do a master's degree in marriage and family therapy at Gordon Conwell Theological Seminary, which I loved. I loved the 2 years there because I think everybody's a product of their family. And then I went to law school and got married to a Texan who plucked me out of Boston and brought me to Houston. And just at the point where, my sister owned companies and I helped her build a few different things, but it was now a time of transition. And so I found myself in Houston with a very odd and unique background and a lifelong desire to serve, and was introduced to the nonprofit sector and actually met Crime Stoppers right away. That was 16 years ago.
Wow. And I understand you also attended law school.
Yes. After my seminary, I went to law school and loved that. Was, the president of my class, always sort of outgoing. I just loved being involved. But when I came to Houston and graduated, I was, I knew I didn't want to be a marriage and family therapist specifically, and I knew I didn't want to be just an attorney. And when you have the background of family therapy, a lot of people say, well, you'll just be a family therapist. You'll be, a divorce lawyer. And I said, no, that's actually the opposite of what I want to do. I want to serve families. And yes, I'll meet them in hard times, but I want to bring them through a hard time and, with hope and blessings and promises of a better tomorrow. And so I ended up looking in the nonprofit sector and found Crime Stoppers, which was not at all where I thought I'd end up, like literally not at all.
Wow. Sounds like there's an interesting story behind that. So how did you become involved with Crime Stoppers?
I had interviewed at a few law firms and again, knew it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And a friend of mine in New York said, listen, you're in Houston, you're in the nonprofit mecca of the world. And why don't you look there? So I went back to the University of Houston, where I'd completed law school. And there's this big binder for internships for lawyers. And so I said, well, I'll just look. And I saw this opening for Crime Stoppers. And they were looking for an attorney with media experience.
Wow.
And I thought, that's my love. I loved media. And so I said, well, I'll go apply, but I really don't want to work there. Funny thing is, all through law school, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I know it will have, I know it will have no intersection with criminal law. It was like, and I would
Mm.
say that to people. It was funny, but I said, I'll go interview. I'm going to get my feet wet and look in the nonprofit sector. This is the first place I'm finding I'm interested. They talk about media. So I went and interviewed, but Kim, I fell in love. I absolutely fell in love with the
Mm.
mission. The executive director at the time said, listen, we are looking for an intern, $10 an hour, not a law school graduate, but a,
Wow.
first, second year student. You're way overqualified and you have a master's, et cetera. I said, no, but I'll do it. If you're willing to have me, I'll do it.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I've never left
They probably
since.
couldn't believe it. It was a dream for them.
Well, it was weird when I called my husband on the way home. I said, I got a job. He goes, oh, congrats. He goes, are you in-house counsel? What are you? And I said, no, I'm an
I took
intern.
a slight step back.
But I felt it was where God wanted me to be. And I
Wow.
really felt it. And I didn't know why. I
Yes.
was doing, literally intern work, but I felt it was where I was supposed to be in this big new city that was completely new to me. And sure enough, 16 years later, I really do believe I'm where God wanted me to be.
Wow, wow, wow. So amazing. It only God can create these opportunities that are just the perfect fusion of our gifts, our passions, the things that we desire to do, and then enable us to land in that spot. We're
Yeah.
talking about the right seat on the bus.
Yeah. Yes. But it
Absolutely.
was funny because I did always say, like, I'll do anything out of law school except work in the criminal justice sector. But I just always say, God chuckled and he said, all right, you wait and see, missus. You wait and see what we have coming for you.
Well, and I've heard the saying that if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yes, it's so true. At least it's been true in my life.
Wow. Well, mine as well. Well, funny thing is, Rania, I was planning to go to law school. And
Ah,
yes, ma'am, I was considered myself pre-law when I was at UT Austin. And so I went by way of communications because I said, well, that'll be that I was equally as interested in going into media, particularly in the Christian media sector, either radio or television. I was clear on that. But I just kind of had had in my mind that I'm going to have to go to little small towns and just kind of work my way up. And
mm,
the thought of all of that was a little daunting. So I said, well, let's just go to law school, and then somewhere along the way, maybe you'll land in that arena. But the Lord, again, just as he directed you, he has a way of directing us. And for me, the LSAT helped to direct me, Rania.
yeah, yes. Was that a deciding factor of, oh no,
Well,
no
not
way?
just that, just that process.
Yeah.
I knew, I said, you know what? This is just kind of a preview of what this will be like. But yeah, God just redirected, for his plan and purpose. And so as you are, I'm just being fulfilled in the direction he took my life and career and all of that. So let's talk about Crime Stoppers. Sometimes when people hear that, they probably assume that has to be an extremely stressful job. You're hearing about, very heavy things all the time and the horrors of what can be going on throughout the city, kind of the dark side, if you will. But you do an amazing work and you have so many wonderful programs. So just talk to us about Crime Stoppers and all of the different components.
Well, and I'll tell you, it was very heavy when I got there. Even the website was like dark, and it had like a bat flying above over the moon, and
Wow.
a dark alley with like a flashlight. It was dark,
Okay.
and
Okay. Literally, I got
it
it.
literally was just like sort of like the darkness of the
Gloom and
night and all
doom.
that can go wrong. And I worked there, from 2006 until 2013. And we were always thinking, like, how do we remessage this organization? And when I took over in 2013, of course, I was asked to remessage it. And what I wanted to do was talk about shining light in the darkness. We all pray that we're never going to be a victim of crime. And if you are a victim of crime, it is truly a horrifying experience. But on
Sure.
the flip side, we also all have a desire to be proactively safe. We want to go jog at the park or run errands or have our kids be able to play a game online or chit chat with people and or shop this holiday season. I mean, whatever it might be.
Right.
And there's a lot of room there for growth and education and discussion. So I really sunk my teeth into that side, the public
Hmm.
safety preventative side. That's not actually dark or scary. It's health and wellness. It's wonderful. You exercise every day to keep your heart healthy. You understand trends in the community so you keep yourself physically safe. Like I saw it as really uplifting and encouraging. And so we of course have that tip line that deals with the really harsh reality of felony crime, and people call that tip line, and we solve thousands of cases. But there's also so much we do through our Safe School Institute. We're in the schools, boots on the ground, making sure kids do not become victims of crime or choose to commit a crime and sometimes go through that what's called the cradle to prison pipeline. We want to keep kids as far away from all of that as we possibly can. We have a safe community program where we're in communities talking about every crime trend tip imaginable and making sure people are aware and don't become targets or victims of crime. We have victim services. We have this podcast. We write a ton of content, produce digital videos. We're your neighborhood public safety nonprofit, and we touch on an area that every single one of us cares about. You know, we all care about health and we all care about safety. And so my goal was to make that second part, the safety part, a very soft, digestible, family friendly concept. And I think the team's been doing a good job getting that done.
I love what you said that it's about health and wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And you also mentioned the awareness and education component of it. That is the bright side, because you mentioned the whole idea of prevention.
Yes.
You're trying to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So
Yes.
you're literally trying to help us to do the things in life that we love and enjoy doing and just be proactively safe.
Absolutely. And I keep thinking that's a message that everyone can embrace. You don't want someone coming to your house and saying, you could be a victim of crime. The crime is that. But if you have somebody say, listen, we want to make sure your kids live and thrive and do everything at school and can connect with technology because it is 2022, almost 2023. We want to make sure you can run errands and walk and go travel and go to the theater and eat out. We want you to do all of that. We just want you to be safety minded when you do it. Like, that's great. Thank you. And that's sort of been the response. Now, in the beginning, it was hard. I always felt like I was turning the Titanic. Or rebranding McDonald's. It was a lot of work, but we've slowly done it.
That is amazing. Now, I know there've been a lot of great things that have happened during your time. What are some accomplishments that you're personally just most proud of since you've joined the team?
Well, I'm very proud of our team. We've put together a very well-oiled operation. Everybody cares so much. We work around the clock and we try to really connect or represent as many people as we possibly can. We're 16 people serving over 6 million people. So it's not perfect, but it is pretty ironclad, and we're going to continue to grow. But in terms of physical accomplishments, we've built the first ever Crime Stoppers headquarters anywhere in the world. And I'm going to have to share that story one day because it was miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle to get that building built and fully funded. It is completely paid for. And, stepping into a community, I was the new executive director at the time. My first assignment was to build the first ever Crime Stoppers headquarters in a city where no one really knew what we did. They thought we were just a phone and a tip line. Why are we going to give hundreds of thousands of dollars for you to have one phone? And, it didn't make any sense. Or aren't you part of the police department? Or so
Yes.
The education, the listening, the rebranding, the messaging, the donors we met with, the connections we made, and to have that building be the Dave Ward building, the first ever of its kind anywhere in the world. I'm very, very proud of that. And I would say the second thing is we took our program, the Safe School program was a much smaller group, and we expanded it. And now we are the Safe School Institute, the largest safe school program of any Crime Stoppers across the world. We're training
Wow.
Crime Stoppers across the entire state, and we want to make sure that all kids everywhere are safe no matter where they are. So I'm very, very proud of that.
That is wonderful. I think it's so beautiful that you named that headquarters after someone that is so beloved in our city, Dave Ward.
Yeah, he was the first voice. Back in the
Mhm.
80s, as a young reporter, he put Crime Stoppers on the map.
Wow.
And because of his investment, all the other media agencies started to follow suit. ABC did the reenactments, and Dave was constantly pushing us out there, and then all the other networks followed. So it made sense that it would be named after him.
What an honor. That is absolutely wonderful. So, Rania, what are some of the things we can do to help keep our families safe during the holiday season and beyond? Of course, it's always important to be proactive, but especially during this season when we're just out a lot more, we're shopping and just moving about. What are some of those things you would tell us?
Well, we want you to slow down and for first and foremost, and this is a season about showing love and being together, but it's obviously been capitalized and marketed, and everybody's rushing to get the latest gadget, have it shipped in time, wrapped. Okay, drop this gift off, drop that gift off. And what it means is we in sort of the rush, we let our guards down. We're not thinking about safety online. We're putting debit cards into sites that we don't even know if they're secure, sharing personal information with people we probably shouldn't be, clicking on links that come to us through a text message, oh, you got a free gift card, or oh, the Apple phone
Mm,
you ordered is delayed. And it's like, well, I didn't order an Apple phone. Wait a minute, this is a scam. People are like, wait, let me click
right.
quickly and see what phone. This is not right. So we want people to just calm and sort of breathe in and out a little bit. Know that scammers love this time of year. They're going to send you emails, text messages. They may pick up the phone and call you, hoping that you'll be so distracted that you'll either click on a link or share a credit card information or give them something they can use to, commit a fraud against you or somebody in your family. I'll also add this. A lot of people say, okay, I'm going to be careful and think about it. And, I'll be mindful of when I shop online and especially on third party sites or, all of that. But they don't have the conversation with the younger people in their homes. And I'll tell you, it's a different time now. The shoppers in the home are getting younger. There are girls
That's
13 years
true.
old, 12 years old who know easily how to purchase off of Sephora or Amazon or
Mhm.
wherever. They're at Target. They can buy stuff online very easily. Those same girls are also getting marketing emails and text messages because now they've put their phone number in as
Mm.
they make purchases. So they too are going to be targets for some of these online scams. So we want mom and dad, all the caretakers to be aware of this, but also have the conversation with the younger consumers in the home.
That is great advice. We are talking about holiday safety with our friend Rania Markarious, who is the president and CEO of Crime Stoppers, and just giving us some tips and insight on things that we can do not only during the holiday season, but just every day of the year to keep us and our families safe. I'm surprised, Rania, the times that I walk by a car and clearly see someone's handbag
Oh,
on
yeah.
the seat of the car or on the floor of the car, or see someone walking out of the store counting their money.
Yeah.
Just counting change innocently. But it goes back to what you were saying about being present, being in that moment, being alert to our surroundings so that we can do our part to keep ourselves safe. And
Yes.
all of the online things that you mentioned, one of the things that we experience is just the persistence of the people of ill intention
Yes.
to send those links and all of that. But again, we can't let our guard down, is what I hear you saying.
Absolutely. And I always say we're striking a balance. We don't want anyone to be paranoid,
That's right.
but we do want you to be cautious. And I always use the example of getting on an airplane. I fly quite a bit back and forth to Boston, where my family is. And I remember when the girls, my kids were younger, they said, "Mommy, is there something wrong with this plane?" Like the first time they recognized the security protocol they go through at the
Mm,
beginning. And I said, "No, why would you say that?" I said, "Well, why are they talking about emergency landing if you land on water? Is there something wrong with the plane?" And I said, "No, actually, this gives me peace and comfort that they're so aware of safety that we're going to fly with even more confidence than ever before." And so approaching life being public safety minded, knowing what to do if something were to happen or what could potentially happen, is a recipe for success and encouragement and hope and joy and nothing else, in my opinion.
mm, that's great. So, Rania, you have something coming up that promotes, it talks about safety. Tell us a little bit about that and how to access the webinar that's coming up.
Yes, we have a Safe Community Institute presentation on seasonal safety. It will be December 20th from 11 to 12 o'clock. Just go to our website, crime-stoppers.org. We have an events section. It's a seasonal safety webinar. It's free. You can join through Facebook. We just want you to attend and hear some of the latest thoughts on seasonal safety. And of course, give us your feedback, share your stories, let other people know what you think or what you've experienced, because it's a community effort to keep each other safe.
Rania, how important is it? We talked about keeping ourselves and our families safe, but what is my role as a citizen to how can I be proactive in others' safety? Sometimes people kind of have the thought, I don't want to become involved. I
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Do we have a responsibility as citizens in that regard?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm going to give you a different answer than I might give on, to other people, but I'm going to give you my real answer in terms of where my heart is. I think we all need to start our days in prayer. I really do. I think we need to
Amen.
turn the dial back on our anger. So whether that's running errands and being rushed or driving down these highways, we've got to remove anger,
Yes,
substitute it for just calm and peacefulness
that's
and
good.
joy. And I think when we realize that we have a responsibility to live our lives and have the best day and be the best that we can, that includes taking care of our neighbors. It just does. And I am not saying that everyone's going to jump in and be a good Samaritan and,
Sure.
step in there if a gun is drawn. That not no, that very few of us have the ability to do that. But we all can be showing kindness. We all can be starting our day in prayer and then praying for others around us who seem to be distressed or in need or not having a good day. We can all be showing kindness, being vigilant, reporting things that we see that seem out of the ordinary, taking pictures if we see something that seems odd and sharing it with local law enforcement. Be part of the solution. And again, that
Mhm.
means something different for every single person. But we've got to stop I just wrote a book on online safety, and part of the research that I did is the online world and technology has made us very much about ourselves. We look at ourselves, we post about ourselves, we want ourselves to trend. It's all about us. And we've kind of carried that over into community engagement. And what do I get out of it? I want to be first in line. I'm the one in the rush. Don't cut me off. I'm the one that needs to be heard. And we need to kind of turn that off and
Mhm.
go back to faith and prayer, whatever that might be for you in your home, but lead with love and kindness and community support and engagement.
Oh, well said. Well said. Lead with love and kindness. So tell me this. Another question for you. How can others become involved in the work of Crime Stoppers? I'm sure that with 16 staff and 6 million people, I have a feeling there are some ways we can support you in what you're doing.
We are about giving information. So we would love people to follow us on our social media channels. If you go to crime-stoppers.org, right there on the website, it will direct you to our Facebook page, our Instagram page, Twitter. I'm constantly giving out safety messages. I use Instagram primarily and Facebook, but I'd love people to follow me, and we want you to share the content. We want to spread the message, the education as much as we can. Yes, we have volunteer opportunities. Yes, we're out in the community as far as we can possibly go. We are a nonprofit. Donations always, of course, are how we live. But the biggest request is to share the content and give us feedback. You know, if I'm doing a video, and the one I just did the other day, I'm getting so many people calling me saying, when do we get our children a cell phone? How do we know? How do we know? I did a video. I put it on Instagram. My Instagram's at the Rania Report. And I was so thankful for the people that commented and sent me messages, their strategies, what worked, what didn't work, what they benefited from, the research that we're doing, other options. This network and this sort of wealth of information, all we want to do is share it and have it pass on. And so if people can be following us and sharing content, that means a lot.
Awesome. Anything new on the horizon we can be praying for you personally or for Crime Stoppers?
Well, for me, certainly, as the leader of this organization, we're coming off of a very difficult year. Crime became a political issue this last year.
Yes.
We've never seen anything like it. We got pulled in sort of the vitriol of politics and the weeds of it all. And all I keep doing every day, we just pray to break through it. We pray to be able to work with every leader, every elected leader whose work touches public safety, that their hearts would soften and they would want to work with Crime Stoppers, that we would work together, that victims who've been impacted by crime will find justice, that our team that works so hard, we don't really take a day off. Even if we travel or go, our phones are in our hands. We've taken calls that day. I guarantee you, we've talked to media, we've done something that we might find rest, and that doors would open. Doors would open and the organization will continue to expand, and that God will give me wisdom in the leadership, wisdom in the way the decisions and in the things I say, and where I feel like we should go. That's a lot, but those would be my biggest prayer requests.
Well, that's why I asked. That's awesome. Go ahead and share with me a little bit about your book, the title, and where it sounds like it would be extremely helpful and so timely about online safety. So give me a few details about it, where we can get it.
Yeah, sure. So it's called The Online World, What You Think You Know and What You Don't. And I wrote it as the ultimate family guide for parents, caretakers navigating really kids 8 to 28 in the online space. I created 4 power tools, an evergreen roadmap that will keep your children safe online with their buy-in. That was my goal. So many people say, oh, well, we'll catch our kids doing that, or we'll install this technology, or we'll read every single message. Listen, I'm a mom of 3 and I have a job. There is no way I can track every possible thing my child's doing online. Plus, they're more advanced when it comes to technology than a lot of the parents are. So
True.
I'd rather raise a generation of kids with buy-in. And so I created many years of research, about 5 years of research, 1 year of writing. The book launched #1 on 3 different categories on Amazon. I was there for solutions, and I'm very happy that it's got great reviews locally. It's now been featured across the country as sort of the must-have family resource for on online safety. So I'd love people to pick it up. If it's not too late, even get it as a gift for somebody else. I'm starting to speak in churches, and that's been a dream of mine forever. But yes, it's The Online World, What You Think You Know and What You Don't.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations, Rania. It sounds like it's doing very well. And it's a needed resource for today. So thank you. I'm so proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Rania Markarious from Crime Stoppers. And if you want to learn more about Crime Stoppers, become involved in some way, Rania, go ahead and give that website.
crime-stoppers.org.
Excellent. So again, to learn more about the invaluable services provided by Crime Stoppers, crime-stoppers.org. And that book that Rania has written is The Online World. Rania?
Yeah, The Online World, What You Think You Know and What You Don't.
Well, we just want to say thanks to our guest, Rania Markarious from Crime Stoppers, for joining us today. And thank all of you for tuning in. Thank you, Rania.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
What a joy. And we just want all of you to have a safe and happy holiday season. And we hope you'll join us next week for another edition of Community Beat. I'm Kim Kasi McKee for 89.3 KSBJ.
Thanks for joining us for Community Beat with Kim Kasi McKee. Join us every Saturday morning at 5:30 on 89.3 KSBJ.